Hey, it's time for TV Skywriter. Greetings, everybody. Welcome to TV Skywriter. This is where I introduce you to people who are really cool and interesting from around the world. It just so happens that my guest today is local here to Durham, North Carolina. And I also want to tell you, the TV Skywriter is an offshoot of the Durham Skywriter online community paper. So if you'd like to see an all positive online newspaper, check it out at durhamskywriter.com. Now, today's guest is Mr. Ritchie Briggs. We'll be talking about bladder cancer, something I've never even heard of, to tell you the truth. So we're going to talk about that, and also the upcoming Walk to End Bladder Cancer 5K. That's going to be Saturday, May 5th. We will also talk about that. So welcome to the show, Mr. Ritchie Briggs.
Hi, Pat. How you doing?
Very happy to have you on. And I'd like to start out by thanking Paula Sloan. She's the one who connected us. She is from, I think it's pronounced Beacon, if I'm not mistaken, the Bladder Cancer Advocacy Network.
That's right.
So, Ritchie, Paula didn't tell me an awful lot about you, only that you'd be a great guest and that I believe you have or had bladder cancer.
Well, I will say I am a bladder cancer survivor, which essentially means I had bladder cancer. And today I'm still around, so that makes me a survivor. The good thing about my story is I no longer have cancer.
That is awesome.
Yeah, thanks. It's really a positive thing. But there's some cost to that. And I'll be happy to tell you a little bit about my story.
Okay. Let's start off with a really basic question, because I've known family, friends who've had various kinds of cancer, but somehow I've never heard of bladder cancer, and I'm wondering if it's rare.
That's not an unusual story. Most people don't know anything about bladder cancer. Most folks have never heard of it. And the strange thing about that is it's a very prevalent type of cancer. I think it's probably in the U.S. the 5th most prevalent cancer in the U.S. And you have to ask yourself is, why haven't I heard about it? And the answers aren't very clear. Maybe it's not as sexy. I don't know what it is. Maybe the real story is bladder cancer, if caught early, is very unlikely to cause death. And so maybe people aren't really as focused on it as they are on other types of cancers. But it is pretty prevalent.
That's good. Now, I had a friend named George who had stomach cancer, and it took him down real fast. I was told that stomach cancer does not have a high survival rate. Let's put it that way. But I'm glad to hear that bladder cancer can be dealt with. Are there symptoms that are common from person to person?
Yes. So the most common symptom of bladder cancer is blood in the urine. Almost all people who have bladder cancer will have that. And this is not something that you can't barely see. You'll see a large amount of blood in your urine.
You mean suddenly, or just like a drop one day? And
no, actually, in most cases, it's a rather sudden event. And so everything is fine, and one day you look in the toilet and there's a ton of blood there. And the thing is, you feel no pain. And so you think, wow, I don't know what this is all about. And it may go away, only to come back, days or weeks later. So it's not a constant amount of blood in the urine. It fluctuates from time to time.
Now, you say there's no pain. So would you think that many people ignore? That sounds like something that's difficult to ignore. But do you think most people, sometimes you're paralyzed by fear and you sort of wait things out. So do you think most people wait?
Well, I think a lot of people do. And I think the thing is, there's no pain. You see that and you probably kind of write it off as a number of different things. I certainly did. Really thinking there was maybe a kidney stone or something like that. And it's, it'll pass and that'll be it. And the fact that there's no pain and it's not there every time. You think, okay, maybe whatever that event was is gone. You don't have to worry about it. until you see it 2 or 3 more times and think, yeah, maybe something's wrong. Kind of an interesting or kind of uninteresting fact is women very often take more time to get it treated because blood in the urine is often mistaken for other gynecological issues, maybe like a, urinary tract infection or something of that nature. And they just say, well, it's not a problem. I've seen this before. And by the time they realize that it's not something like that, it has advanced to a more progressed stage.
Well, I'm a little surprised to hear. Okay, here's my next question. I'm a little surprised. I thought you would say, because we're talking about the bladder, that a symptom would be using the restroom all the time, having to run to the restroom all day.
Well, that is one of the symptoms. More frequent urges to urinate, more urination. But those are kind of the more minor symptoms. The one that's really at the top of the heap is blood in the urine. And that's the real symptom there. Because other things like urge to go more often comes with age. And bladder cancer is, much I hate to say it, kind of oldest person's disease. Generally, people 65, 70, 75 are going to see that for the first time. And so they often write off the urge to go more often, maybe a lower back pain with a bunch of other different things and not associating it with cancer. So
I guess something that you would like to see happen is for people to be more aware of the symptoms. Even though I don't want people to have this cavalier attitude, well, it's survivable, no big deal. Cancer is cancer. It sounds scary to me. I don't care what kind of cancer it is. So.
But you're absolutely right. Cancer is cancer, and it's only survivable because if people act on those initial symptoms fairly soon, there's a lot of options for you. But for people who wait around thinking, I don't have to worry about it, I have plenty of time, you want to make it a mistake because the whole concept here is that this bladder happens on the inside lining of your bladder. But the longer you take to address it, the larger tumor grows, and eventually it eats into the muscle of your bladder. And if
that sounds like trouble.
Yeah, that's the start of your trouble. And if it allows to continue, it'll go right through your bladder. And now you have a number of different problems. Cancer cells floating out throughout your abdomen. Now urine is going everywhere. And then it metastasizes in other areas.
So then you can get like lung cancer or stomach cancer or whatever?
Yes, something like that, or it gets
into lymph
systems and things like that. So that's when you get into real trouble.
Okay, so we're not trying to cause a nationwide panic, but it is obviously something to check out. And I do know in reading about breast cancer that very often Black women wait the statistics show that Black women wait much longer than white women, and that more invasive surgeries and whatnot, treatments have to be undertaken. They say very often, I guess it might also be a matter of income. I mean, not everybody I know even has a doctor.
Well, all those things come into play. If you're on a lower income scale, you probably wait longer before you have medical issues addressed. Often waiting to the point where you have to go to the emergency room instead of being seen by your primary care physician or urologist or something in that nature. Another kind of interesting fact about bladder cancer is that it's not as prevalent in Black people as it is in Caucasians.
Okay.
The Caucasians get it about twice as often as Black people.
Is it a matter of diet?
There's a lot of theory about what causes it. We really think maybe it's environmental, but there's a lot of things we don't know. We do know that one of the main causes of bladder cancer is cigarette smoking. And you probably think, I don't really get that. The systems don't seem to connect. But that is probably the main cause of bladder cancer. The other
That's
things are
really weird. I thought you were going to say alcohol.
no,
Okay.
it's not. Smoking, and I guess, and I'm no physician, but it seems that, of course, if you smoke, you take carcinogens in your lungs. Your blood vessels take that and sends it out the rest of your body, essentially going through your kidneys at some point, where it takes out impurities and things it doesn't want and waste, and dumps that into your bladder. So all the stuff stays in there until you evacuate it at some point. But at some point, the bladder is holding that carcinogens for a while. And the idea is that this isn't something that happens overnight. This could be 20 years in the making.
Wow.
Before you start to see the symptoms of bladder cancer.
Wow. That is pretty amazing. Now, I don't want to get too personal, but obviously you survived it. But in your case, you don't have to answer this if you don't want to, but were you able to figure it out and go early? And obviously you went early enough to get it taken care of, but still, when it comes to statistics, were you a person who was able to take care of it early, or did you wait a while and it was still, obviously they still dealt with it in either case?
That was kind of one of the lucky ones. I did catch it early.
Okay.
Once I saw that there was blood in my urine, that freaked me out. And I said, that's time to see.
Right?
Right. And that's the right thing to do. Don't guess about it. It's not natural. So I saw my primary care doctor, who sent me to a urologist. And again, I, of course, diagnosed myself, saying, I know it's just a kidney stone or something like that, so let's check it out. And my urologist did a number of tests, including MRI, and what they call they just put a device in your bladder so they can actually see around there. And he said, very nonchalantly, you have bladder cancer. He started telling me other things after that. The only thing I heard was wow, 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 wow.
Yeah, I know, right? That C word.
Yeah, it's cancer. How can this be? And what does that mean? And like most people, I had never heard of bladder cancer, so I didn't know how serious it was. He was trying to explain to me. I had to go back for a second visit, just so he can repeat all those things over again.
Yeah, after they say cancer, they might as well just stop talking and just make another appointment.
Yeah, exactly. But they catch it fairly early, so it had not got to the bladder wall, and that's a real positive thing. So it's all a matter of what type of treatment options you want to use at that point.
Do they let you make a choice as to whether you're going to start right away? I know in a person I know, in her case, they said, okay, we're tell your folks you're going to have the surgery done tomorrow or whatever.
Well, time is important. So one of the first things they like to do is get a culture of the cancer cells to try to understand if it's really aggressive or not, and that really colors probably the treatment time. If it's aggressive, they want you, having this taken care of right away. Even if it's not, the sooner the better. So much like your friend, they want to try to handle this as quickly as possible.
Wow. So in the case of bladder cancer surgery, I don't know if it's easy to get over any type of surgery, but was it easy to get through, and did you have to choose, or rather did the doctor have to work with you to choose radiation or chemotherapy?
Yeah, we work with our oncologists and urologists, and even went for second opinions just to make sure that everybody's on the same page. But yeah, there are decisions that has to be made, and some of the treatment options for bladder cancer is one, you can keep your bladder. They go in and they can actually scrape the cancer cells off the inside of your bladder if it hasn't gone too far, and then start with a series of medications that they actually insert in your bladder periodically to try to ward
How
off those cancer cells coming back.
how does it get into how does the medication, you said insert, that makes it sound like you're not swallowing something.
Well, it's not exactly that simple. We actually go through the other direction. So
Oh, okay. You don't have to get, you don't have to get graphic, but I was just,
yeah.
okay. Wow. Okay.
So yeah, you go to the urethra and you actually insert medication into your bladder. And that's one method of handling that. The unfortunate thing is, in many cases, bladder cancer reoccurs. It really has a unusually high incidence of reoccurrence. And so,
and that is if they merely scrape the cells off, or
exactly.
just in every case.
And in that case, you really have to be on the alert all the time, making appointments, seeing if things have come back for additional surgeries or procedures to scrape additional cells out if they return.
Okay.
The other options is to remove the bladder totally. And that's an option for many people. If you say there's a positive thing about that option, is that if you catch it early and you remove your bladder, you're done with it. You don't have cancer anymore.
Yeah, but it sounds like they'd have to do some interesting procedures to help you do what you must do.
But true that. So they have to work out a diversion plan to how to get urine from your kidneys out of your body somehow. Okay. And there's a number of different ways you can do that. One is to use a bagging system where they divert that to an external bag, what we can call a bladder.
I've seen something like that. Is that called a colostomy?
It's called an ostomy. So the ostomy is the act of getting waste out of your body.
Okay, yeah, I've seen that.
So a colostomy is used for getting stool out of your body. Okay. In this case, for a bladder removal, use a urostomy. So get urine out of there. The methods are pretty much the same, where they take a piece of your intestines, a piece of your own body, and they use that as essentially a tube to get it from your kidneys outside of your body.
It's amazing they can do that. It doesn't sound pleasant, but it's amazing to me that they are able to do that.
It is a pretty amazing surgery. And you're right, it's not a very pleasant thing to have to go through. And for people who go through that route, there are often some issues psychologically with body image, those type of things. But most folks within time relish the idea that they don't have to worry about cancer, at least not bladder cancer, looking over their shoulder. So that's done deal.
Now, you're saying that the patient has to be vigilant. What else can the patient do but look for blood? Is there something you can do, like change your diet? I mean, it sounds like diet has nothing to do with it. I guess quit smoking if you're a smoker.
Well, absolutely. If you're a smoker, stop. I mean, it's not good for anything. I mean, there's so many things that smoking is ruining on your body. Bladder cancer is just one of those things. So if you're smoking, stop. If you know someone you love and care about, get them to stop. But there's other things. There's certain chemicals, things like in leather work, for example, that may cause this type of thing. But there's a lot of things we just don't know. And one physician was mentioning that North America seems to be a high incidence of bladder cancer. Asia seems to be a lower incidence.
Now that's weird.
Yeah, don't know if it's a diet or atmosphere or just environment in general.
That's very strange, because they say the smoking numbers are way down in this country and way up in China.
I don't know, but smoking is the one thing that they do have a solid connection to. So again, stopping smoking is good for all kinds of things.
Now, are there places to meet for bladder cancer patients and former, like support groups and that sort of thing?
Yeah, in the Triangle, there's the Triangle Bladder Cancer Support Group. They meet once a month on the second Tuesdays. And I think from 7:30 to, I'm sorry, from 7 o'clock to 8:30. They meet in Chapel Hill at the SECU Family House. It's right next door to the Ronald McDonald House.
Okay.
And it's really a marvelous team. They they talk to people who are survivors, who are patients ongoing.
Yeah, thanks for that info on the support group.
Yes, and again, they anybody with bladder cancer or a survivor or caretaker, family member, all are welcome to join to come and visit us from a support point of view. And they just a marvelous time.
Now, the bladder cancer support group, are they members or affiliated somehow with the Bladder Cancer Advocacy Network?
So, in a sense, there really are two different organizations, but the Bladder Cancer Advocacy Network almost, in a sense, sponsors, in a sense, the support group. But most of the folks who go to the support group aren't members of the BCAN system. So BCAN is national. The Bladder Cancer Support Group is a really local group, really just geared to providing support for family members and survivors and patients.
Okay. So are you taking part in the event on May 5th, Saturday?
Absolutely. That is the BCAN annual walk/5K. In this area, we do both. So we look for people who are runners, who want to participate, or walkers who wants to walk. Usually the walking distance is about a mile, but you can walk the full 5K if you like.
Okay, and I looked it up. 5K is 3.10 miles.
Yeah, it's not so bad for people who are, seasoned runners, but even the lightweights can do that. It's Saturday, May 5th, at Southern Community Park in Chapel Hill. And the registration time is 9 a.m. And the walk and run starts at 10.
Okay.
You can register in advance, in fact, by going to northcarolinabcan.com to register. Okay.
And also I wanted to point out for those of us who usually only go to Chapel Hill to eat or to go to UNC Chapel Hill, this park, which is Southern Community Park, the address, if you want to enter it into your GPS, is 1,000 Dogwood Acres Drive.
That's correct.
I don't know where that is, but it's in Chapel Hill. And that's
well, hopefully that GPS will get us there. It should be a festive event. Should be a lot of fun. There'll be some speakers there, maybe even a little music. And I think the highlight might be some Maple View ice cream. So come on out.
Oh, I heard about them. Yeah.
And it's family friendly, so bring the kids.
Okay, and probably I'm guessing that there's going to be literature being handed out, and also celebration, because defeating cancer is a big deal.
It is a big deal. So yeah, we'll be celebrating.
Worth celebrating.
Yeah, we'll be celebrating folks who have survived or are still going through their journeys, as well as remembering those who did not make it. So and there'll be tons of people to talk to. Maybe some literature given out.
Now, you've been through cancer, and if you don't mind, like I said, I've known a couple of people who have who had cancer, and one I'm thinking of right now got really tired of fighting. And I just like for you to, if you don't mind, give some words of encouragement, because sometimes the fight is difficult and you get tired.
Well, it can be very hard. Going through sickness, and especially cancer, It may seem defeating, but there's a lot on the other side. And having gone through it, it's sweeter now, maybe perhaps, than it was before.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who care for you, who depend on you. So hang in there for those folks who are having a tough time of whatever cancers they're going through. There is, there's a lot of hope. Every day there's new breakthroughs. So it may seem bleak today. Tomorrow there may be a whole different story.
Definitely. And of course, going to the various support groups, of course, we did talk about the bladder cancer support group that meets in Chapel Hill on the second Tuesday, but also Duke and Lincoln, that's Lincoln Community Health Center. Both of those organizations have support groups for various, prostate and breast cancer and different, just check out the Durham Skywriter. You can go to the health page and then click on the big blue health events button, and that lists all that I know about of the various types of support groups that meet in this area. And I will be very happy to add the bladder cancer support group to the Durham Skywriter every month. I will definitely do that.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So any final words? I do, again, want to throw a huge thank you out to Paula Sloan. She is, I think, in charge of outreach for the Bladder Cancer Advocacy Network here locally. And if you'd like to throw some shout outs, I welcome you to do so.
Well, I'd like to simply thank the Triangle Bladder Cancer Support Group. Helped me through a whole lot of things. And really for folks who are going through tough times, especially health-wise, lean on your support teams, whether it's a support group, family members, spouses, children, whatever. That all matters. And come on out to the 5K Bladder Cancer Walk on May the 5th. It'll be a good time.
Okay. And again, for more information, I have a couple of items here to read to you. So it's the Walk to End Bladder Cancer. It's Saturday, May 5th, of course. Registration is at 9. The walk and the run start at 10. So you can go to, I have two websites here. I guess they're similar. bcan.org/BCAN-NC. This will be in the description. So I'll continue. --triangle-chapter, or you can just go to North Carolina BCAN.com.
Right.
I probably should have said that in the first place. You can also call 919-812-5002 for more information on this very special event, the Walk to End Bladder Cancer. And do you happen to know if, because it's so survivable if you catch it early, do you think there's a cure in sight? Do you keep up with the research?
Well, that's interesting because bladder cancer, because it's not as deadly as others, it's probably not getting the funding as other things like breast cancer or prostate cancer. We certainly hope that there are cures in sight. Certainly there's new therapies, but we'll have to wait and see.
Okay.
But programs like this certainly help fund the research.
And also lets people know that bladder cancer exists. And also, I really hope that people are talking about the symptoms, because it seems that you should be concerned if there's blood in your urine.
Absolutely.
And don't wait. Check it out.
This is the case. Don't walk, run to your doctor and have that checked out. It may be nothing, but better knowing than not knowing.
Definitely. And even if you're like me and you don't have a doctor, go to the clinic, go to Lincoln, whatever. I mean, doctors are doctors. They're all talented, gifted, and
That's
very
right.
well educated. So go to a doctor and check it out. Don't be afraid. And with that, thank you so very much, Mr. Ritchie Briggs, for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And of course, thanks again to Paula Sloan. Be sure to read the Durham Skywriter, that's Durham, North Carolina's online community paper if you're local, or if you just want to see what an all-positive newspaper looks like. And also be sure to check out TV Skywriter, usually every week on Sundays, although today is Tuesday. I'm always able to accommodate my guests. I don't really care. This is my show. I do it whenever I want in accordance to my guest schedule. You don't have to be local. I've interviewed people in Brazil, Afghanistan, Canada, England, Scotland, so Kenya. So if you'd like to be a guest, contact me. The quickest way is on Twitter at Durham Skywriter. With that, have a beautiful day or evening wherever you are, and I'll say ciao for now.